When we're having a long conversation with a large language model, sometimes we'll run into the challenge that the large language model will forget the rules of the game. It'll forget what we're trying to accomplish. What is the task that we're working on? And so one of the things we need is a way to remind the large language model, what are we doing? And we'd like it to remind itself if possible. And so the way that we can do that is by using what we call the tail generation pattern. And the idea behind this is that we're going to generate a tail, an end to the output that the large language model produces that will help remind it what we're doing. And so the tail is going to always be generated at the end of its output, and the tail will remind the large language model what the rules of the game are. And we're going to see this in the context of combining the tail pattern with the alternative approaches pattern and with the ask for input pattern. So we're going to put all these things together and we're going to see how this is a really useful thing. So generating a tail on our conversation, use the tail generation pattern, is really, really effective in maintaining our conversation longer and maintaining the rules and the knowledge of our rules longer. So I've actually used this several times and I haven't talked about it, but I'm going to show you what it does. So this is the prompt that I used in the alternative approaches pattern discussion. So I'm asking ChatGPT to generate a set of prompts to solve a particular task. So I'm asking ChatGPT to help us with prompt engineering. I'm going to give it a task and it's going to generate possible prompts that we could use to perform that task with ChatGPT. Now, if I do this over and over, and I keep saying anytime I ask you for a prompt, you should go back and generate multiple alternatives for it, the problem I'm going to run into is that eventually it's going to forget that it's supposed to generate a bunch of alternatives and that it's supposed to be generating prompts. And so I need a way that keep reintroducing that rule into the conversation to keep it alive longer. And so one way I can help do that is with the tail generation. And so this is the tail that's being generated. I have the prompt and I say, when you are done, ask me for the next prompt to create alternatives for. So I'm adding this on. I'm saying when you're done, at the end of your output, you're going to ask me for the next prompt to create alternatives for. So notice what I'm doing. I'm actually using the ask for input pattern. I'm saying at the end of the input, at the end of the output that you produce, you're going to ask me for the next input. So you're going to ask me for the next task to accomplish. And I'm telling it, you're going to ask me for the next prompt to create alternatives for. So I'm also reintroducing the rules of the game. I'm describing what the purpose of the